I think like the Aquarius energy of just like don't want to go with society and just do our own shit. I don't like being told by authority like you should be doing this, you should do this. I'm just like no.
Yeah. You're doing something that people wish they could. And I feel it in that way, not because everyone wants to be a massage therapist, but because you're living on your own terms. You didn't go get a job where like the job owns you.
Yeah.
Like you get your clients, you create the job, you found your own space,
Right.
you're your own boss, like all to the max. Like no one controls your business except
I know.
you.
Yeah.
What's up guys? I'm here with Haley.
Hi.
She is a massage therapist.
Massage, sports massage, energy work, and reflexology.
We went to school a little bit together, so that's where we met each other.
Yeah.
And we're both 22 years old.
I mean, it came from my background. My mom's an entrepreneur, and I worked for her for like 5 years before. It was actually even during the process of going to school too.
Okay.
So like I had a lot of her to resource to, but I also saw in her the ability of just being empowered and just going for it and just trying it. So it was kind of nice to have like a support system if I needed it.
You're a massage therapist, you do energy work.
Yeah.
You combine them sometimes.
I do.
So you have a sense when you are touching someone's tissue and you're massaging their body, whether or not it's an emotional thing or a physical stress.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
it's
crazy.
Like if it's either injury and just like plain old fashioned tension, or if it's stress kind of tension. Like physically when the tissue has like a watery substance, that means there's emotional, like emotions are water. So it doesn't feel like it's so dense on the body. It feels like it's like moving and it won't release because it's more emotional than it is physical.
So if it's physical, you can do your physical work and it's gonna just
it'll happen. I've grown up in the gym and weight training and weightlifting like since I was 11 or so. It's just kind of my nature now. It actually helps with the endurance on long days being with as a massage practitioner. So it's like I kind of need it now. But it's also like so grounding. Like the foods that I eat and like weight training, like heavy and being with gravity and like going against gravity, it just really brings you down into your physical body. And that's I think also what's helped me know within my own body what's emotional, what's physical, what's mental, and when I feel things going on, because then I can also like relate to another client what's going on. I think that's honestly what's helped me when it came to being with clients and figuring out what's emotional, what's mental, and all that shit. I really do think like life coaching is just a like help in shifting perspective. I think that's how things should be taught though. You know?
Well, they should.
Yeah, because it empowers a person to think for themselves, which society doesn't want people to do.
No.
Yeah. You and I both were like so young compared to the rest of the class. We were just like, that's why we kind of gravitated toward each other. Yeah.
It was like, oh, this person's the same age. And then when well, how old are you?
22.
22, I'm 22 as well. So we were the same age. And it was like, okay.
Your birthday's in February.
Oh, wow. Yours is too?
And mine is too.
Yeah. Oh, okay,
Mine's
nice.
the 4th. Which one's
17th.
17th, yeah. That's so funny.
That is funny. Well, yeah, that class was crazy. It was really intense emotionally.
Yeah, that was a 4-day class.
Yeah, 4 days. It was 8 hours each day. It was like 9 to 5. It was a 9 to 5 class.
So true.
9 to 6, whatever it was.
Yeah, that was intense.
And from there, I remember always being like intrigued by you. It
same.
It was like, who is this person that's into these same things and like in this advanced way when everyone else in here is like 50?
I know.
It's like, and she seems such like a normal person. Like you have a normal personality.
Yes, yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is a cool combination.
Yes, this is so interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, totally.
I remember it was like the first situation, like I was like, oh, he's young, I'm gonna like go sit by him as much as I can.
I was so grateful that we were like next to each other. I was like, thank God she wants to sit by me.
I know. I think one of the first things that we were partners with was when it was that whole thing we were trying to figure out how someone sees, or like if someone feels, sees, like visionary, or thinks about something, knowing, that kind of thing. Remember where their eyes go?
Yeah.
That was really interesting.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to explore like bodies and energy and
thought processes and how people communicate, and listening to those like small pieces of what they mean, like underlyingly, but also like repeating back to them exactly what they mean and say. Super interesting.
I like how we didn't meet from working out at the gym, or we didn't meet from playing sports or something. We didn't meet like in the grocery store. We met from like connecting in this way that humans almost never really like communicate with each other like that. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
And I think it's also interesting because us both being Aquarius and air signs, that's like really kind of crucial to how we communicate and connect as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. It makes. I mean, it's pretty easy to talk.
Yeah.
And like just like hang out. Yeah.
But it's also funny. I was thinking about it. even in like, I think we've been in a couple of energy work classes together, but each energy work class, we never really worked together. We never, until after class. I remember that. I was like always wanting to like trade during classes, but it just never worked out, and we like partnered with different people. And then until after we both graduated, and then we finally started doing trades.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is interesting. Crazy. It's kind of cool because I mean, like, grew on our own, and then we never met each other in that way before. Yeah. And now we're just like practitioners, and then it's like, hey, okay, let's work.
It just happens.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there might have been part of me avoiding it, you know, being like, because it was like vulnerable to be like with all these people that I didn't feel like I could relate to, and like we're tuning into each other's energy. It's like, whatever, I'm tuning into like the energy of a 50-year-old woman. Like, it's like, okay, whatever. She's tuning into me. She doesn't know anything about someone my age, and it's just like, whoa, like. That was definitely part of it, but
maybe that's why. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we just weren't really ready to receive the trade that we were able to provide, being on that connected kind of level, you know. So
totally,
yeah, it's super funny.
Yeah. So what
I was thinking, the lighting,
I think we're good.
You think so?
Yeah, I think we're fine, because
the sun's gonna come up more right in like here. It's almost 12 o'clock or noon, so it's gonna come up right directly.
It's a little bit bright, but we'll just go with it for now.
Okay. Good with that.
So do you maybe want to just kind of outline what you're up to in life in general, because you work out, you are a massage therapist, you do energy work, you combine them sometimes. I do, right? That's funny. I was just thinking about that on my way here. I was like, how, it's funny because I don't really think about how I do combine them, but there's a lot of times when I'm with clients, I can tell when tissue has more of an emotional trigger or like an emotional hold rather than something physical that's going on. So yeah, that's really interesting. So I think overall, like being in my own practice, I'm like, yes, I get more experience and I'm learning more, but I'm learning more and experiencing more of myself. Like a lot of my clients reflect like, a lot of things that are going on with my own self. So it's very interesting, especially being so young, and there's people that are like 30s, 40s, and 50s, like having similar issues. I'm just like, this is so strange. Like the duality of everything is super funny. So I've had my practice for I think like 6 months now. Okay. I think some of the things that are challenging is like, I think I was telling you before, is like the flow of going with the flow of clientele, allowing who needs to come through, don't force them, saying, hey, like, do you want to reschedule this and this is what you might need, like allowing the person, because you have to trust your own process and trust your own business and your skills, is really interesting. And also trusting and not doing it for money, doing it to help the people, and saying like, my money will come regardless. So there's a lot of times I even do free sessions just because I just know the person needs it, but they're in a rut of some sort. So that's cool. Like just balance is so huge right now. So but the intertwine, I don't have a lot of energy work clients, and I just think that's where I'm at in my own life, in my own practice. But massage, there's a lot of times where I'll have to feel out where the client is at energetically, if they're really open to it, because you like we've learned a lot of energy work classes, you don't want to do energy work or read someone's soul without their permission. That kind of creates like a karmic tie to some things. So it's just like there's like so many levels to everything, it's so crazy. So yeah. Man, that's cool. You do work with, you do sports therapy, right? I do, yeah. I do regular massage and sports massage. Okay. So it's kind of, and also like the tie-in of energy work. It's like, that's also part of all these levels. Like I'm intertwined with regular massage that's really kind of flow and meditative. And then there's sports massage that's more intense, more mentally and physically draining, that I have to like kind of put more into. Oh, wow. And then there's energy work that's really just kind of like etherical and kind of like all over the place. So it's like all these like back and forth with energy and physical. So and do you charge the same rate for each one of those services? Energy work is just a little bit different, like a $5 difference from my physical sports massage and regular massage, but sports massage and regular massage are the same prices across. Okay, cool. Yeah. And do you use more of your energy and more of your effort in sports massage? I do sometimes, if it kind of seems to be calling, I guess. If the client feels like
That's what I'm saying. If the tissue feels like there's more of an emotional tie to what's going on in their body, then I'll kind of intertwine it or kind of speak on it. So it just depends.
So you have a sense when you are touching someone's tissue and you're massaging their body, whether or not it's an emotional thing or a physical stress?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Like if it's either injury and just like plain old fashioned tension, or if it's stress kind of tension, or if there's, it's so interesting because when like I physically can feel it and I intuitively will know it too. So like physically when the tissue has like a watery substance, that means there's emotional, like emotions are water. So it doesn't feel like it's so dense on the body. It feels like it's like moving and it won't release because it's more emotional than it is physical.
Gotcha. So if it's physical, you can do your physical work and it's gonna just
it'll happen.
So that makes sense because sometimes I'm tense and it stays like that for like weeks and I'm just like I've massaged it, I've stretched my body so much, you know what I mean? So it's like
yes, that's exactly what it is. So if people are like, this is so chronic and I can't get it released, like it'll feel good one day and then the next, if it's shifting and it's changing, then there's definitely something emotional going on more so.
Very cool, very cool. So that's something that people can end up feeling in their own body too.
Yes.
Getting attuned to that. Okay, so then did you learn that from massage school or did you learn that from the energy work side of your schooling? Being able to tune into that aspect of it, like, because obviously they probably teach you something in massage school about like the way, like the tension, right? Like you learn how to work with tension. I mean, they like talk about, they actually didn't really touch on that, like knowing the difference between a mental stress or a physical stress or an emotional stress and what that tissue feels like. That was something I just kind of started noticing, and like just being open with my clients and communicating back and forth, like, is this like, this feels differently. So I'll kind of like ask my higher self, kind of like tune in, and then if I get something from it, then I'll ask the client, is this something that's going on? Are you protective in this area of your life or whatever? So, and then it ends up always being right. So that was something I kind of picked up on through experience. That languaging I remember learning in the energy work classes.
What's that?
Where you're asking them questions in a way like you got to hit, like, okay, you know, is there something going on with your relationship with your mom or whatever it is, or like is there tension like at home or like you know what I mean, like a little bit of that. So I see you incorporating them, you know, and someone on Instagram just gave you a shout out about a combination of energy work and a massage session. And I think it's interesting because whenever you're doing massage, you're incorporating energy work no matter what, even though you're not doing an energy work session, you're taking things from that practice. And it, in my opinion, I don't know if it's true because I haven't gotten like a ton of, I don't know, I'm not your regular client, but it seems like that creates like a deeper potency, like it goes through not just their body, but it kind of goes through their emotional body. You know, and that seems good. That seems like a really good service to have, even without people knowing. It's like, okay, I'm getting massage, she's so great, I have no idea why.
I have no idea, literally, I think that's what happens, because I don't think like people are like, oh, it feels so good, because like I kind of bring like awareness and education of like what else could be going on, and they're just like, oh, okay, like I sometimes don't know if it's sticking, and sometimes you can tell if it will, but it's just really interesting. People I don't think have any idea, like the idea of what kind of depth it's happening on.
And you're aware of so much of it during the whole process, and they could just be on the table like, the whole time, and you're like going through this whole world of like their emotional body and the way they think and all this stuff.
Oh man, that guy's interesting. Oh my god.
Totally.
I want to be him when I grow up.
You know what? He's got some good airflow going on. Like he's in the sun every day. If you see his skin, that's amazing.
Clearly.
If we were like on an island, you know, it would be like, okay, but we're in the middle of Scottsdale. Like, okay. This is really good content. Like what I like to hear from people is like, well, exactly this. But it's like you're doing something that people wish they could. And I feel it in that way, not because everyone wants to be a massage therapist, but because you're living on your own terms. Does that make sense?
Interesting,
so like you didn't go get a job where like the job owns you. Like you get your clients, you create the job, you found your own space, you're your own boss, like all to the max. Like no one controls your business except you. And you did it so easy, like it's just normal to you. I think, well, which is good,
but I think it came from my background. My mom's an entrepreneur, and I worked for her for like 5 years before it was actually even during the process of going to school too. So like I had a lot of her to resource to, but I also saw in her the ability of just being empowered and just going for it and just trying it. So it was kind of nice to have like a like a support system if I needed it behind her, like, hey, I need help with LLC or all that kind of stuff. But I think like the Aquarius energy of just like don't want to go with society and just do our own shit is just, I think that's where it came from too, because I don't like being told like by authority, like you should be doing this, you should be doing this. I'm just like, no thanks.
Yeah, it's kind of the funniest thing that exists.
Yeah, it's so wild.
It is. Yeah, that's cool. That's natural to you. I mean, I think we connect in that way.
Yeah.
In a big way. Like, just the energy behind it. Like, we've never used those words to each other, but it's just like, why would I do something like that?
I don't know.
I can do whatever I need or want to do.
In this way,
yeah, it's all good. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's all good.
Yeah.
Like, there's no downfall to this.
Yeah, I could agree.
Which I think people don't realize that.
Yeah.
You know, like, there are some, like, young kids that go against the grain and then they just cause trouble.
Yeah.
You know, but this is, like, going against the grain in a way that's forming a new path that's actually beneficial to everyone.
Right, yes.
Like,
and more so to ourselves than anything, which I think is important, because if it's way more like easier for yourself to do it, it's gonna just kind of gravitate and you're gonna show other people like how you can do it too.
Yeah, exactly.
So
100th monkey basically is just the science or the studies behind the fact that monkeys in this part of the world, they can learn a trait, and then monkeys in a new part of the world adopt that trait. And so like humans in Arizona, like we're in Scottsdale, you do this for your life, you start like running your own life financially, then like no one owns you, you own yourself completely. Someone across the world is getting that same dose of medicine. Like once 100 people or 100 monkeys did it, then the entire race of them across the world started doing it.
It just kind of became inherent?
Yeah, like it was like DNA communication through the air.
Weird. Oh, that's so strange.
Like there's cultural habits like in Phoenix, there's people a certain way, but that spreads. You get what I mean?
Totally.
Like it'll spread through Phoenix, obviously, but it goes like across the world. So we're all impacting each other in these ways that we didn't even know.
Don't you think that's like kind of like the collective consciousness? Like when you can tap into that, there's like that infinite knowledge and connection that's going on between everybody's soul and collective consciousness, which is why something happens on one place of the universe and it just literally starts spreading. And it's like I mean, it's great because social media is like what we're doing now. We can spread messages and all that stuff, so it kind of catches wildfire a lot easier. But still, somehow, one way or another, it happens more like naturally and organically, rather than it just physically being like forced for people to understand and see and do and apply. I don't know.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, exactly. It's true.
Weird.
It's true. It's a new paradigm. Like we don't learn from that way anymore.
Yeah. I think it's just like energy is being more focused on, so people understand that they can work and do these things without having to really physically try.
Exactly. You're just changing your perspective and your attitude, and then your entire energy body shifts.
Yeah.
And that even opens your physical body too. Which is why the energy work is so cool.
Yes.
And then it goes both ways.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's cool because like I've always resonated with craniosacral work because it was like it's energy based, but you're working with the physical system. Because the physical systems hold so much of a light and an energy just as much as the light body and the etheric body happens. So it's like that's why I always like I love when things have such like a I can have it grounded and understood on the physical presence, but also this like everything ties into a sense. Which is why I love when I have regular massage, sports massage, and energy work, there's like all these levels that they also tie into each other. So
That's awesome. That's so cool to hear.
Yeah.
Especially, I really like that your focus has been just automatically like massage.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's doing the same thing that you're talking about. It's like bridging that gap, and it's like bringing it down to the real world.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing massage, but you're doing so much more because it's who you are, because of who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Like eventually you'll probably do more energy work and stuff.
Yes.
But
yeah.
The essence, like I just feel the essence of that in your practice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And obviously I know you from that side of you.
Right.
But just that's in you, you know, and Jessica.
Yeah.
Like when she does hair, right?
Yeah.
But she does so much more than hair. She says they get a session.
Yes.
You know, and
so true.
What does she call them? Like a hair session or something? Well, anyway.
I don't remember.
She said people come back to her for that, for her, not for just the hair. And obviously she's killer hair too, apparently.
That's true.
So I've heard, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's a cool combo. It's it makes it easy to turn our society from where it is now into like heaven. Because you don't have to stop doing what you're doing. Just do it with a new
just be
approach.
Original, be authentic, and be genuine, and have good intention for people, and just like that's kind of like a big intention for me too, is because I hear so much like bad things about like the massage industry, and it like people being violated or people just not like the practitioner's not hearing what the person needs and not providing that space for them, and like on all levels. And that's like my biggest intention, is like I want people to understand that they're not all bad. I also like I want people to feel safe and have a really good space to come to and feel excited and empowered after they leave.
Yeah.
So it's more of just massage on a physical essence to me, for sure. And that's what I kind of like want to create and cultivate along and spread within that whole massage industry. So it's really important for me. But
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
So what about yourself? What have you been doing, like with energy work clients or life coaching? Like, where are you at with that?
Yeah. Let me look at this. Very cool. Can you move over just a tad?
Yeah. Are you like out of it? Are you like
No,
out
we're
of
good
it?
now. We're in the
Okay.
shade.
Oh, okay. That's what you're focusing on. Okay.
Okay, so yeah. Where am I? So energy work right now has been like on a pause.
Okay.
I've been doing everything else.
Yeah.
I was focusing on yoga for a while. I was teaching a little bit,
Okay.
and I had one client that I was doing sessions with once in a while. I maybe did like 5 or so, and then we just lost contact.
Gotcha.
Which is fine, because it's been part of my process to not be working on people's energy.
Yeah.
It's been a lot for me to even go through the program, and at first, the first few classes, it was like, wow, this is a lot, but I can do this. Like I was determined. And then as I kept going through, I kept going through with determination. But as I kept going back to the energy work classes, I was feeling people's energy a lot.
Yeah.
A lot more. And then it was hard because I was working on my energy so much.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on solidifying my energy.
Yeah.
And so when I'm not on a 100% basis, like sealed up and ready to go out to the outside world, then I'm not interacting with it in a healthy way. And you know, we live in cities that, and even Phoenix, it's not a dense city, but it's pretty dense in the sense that like it's already a lot to pick up on things.
It's so true.
Which is why I'm up north a lot, because there's actually less for me to deal with, and I can just kind of be in myself more.
Yeah, you feel more grounded and detached.
And not everyone's sensitive to that kind of thing, but that's a big part of my life. And so I haven't been approaching energy work as my main focus.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've been working on building the online thing, because I also have this goal to not be location dependent. I want to be able to be anywhere.
I love that.
Yeah, I have a definition of freedom, and it is to be wherever I want, whenever I want.
Yeah.
And I've added on recently with whomever I want.
I love that.
Yeah, which means I need to be at any time capable of bringing myself and anyone I want to with me, anywhere, at any time.
Yeah.
You know, and so like if my way of serving the world and being part of the community is something that doesn't depend on one building,
one location,
then it serves me the most right now.
Yes.
I'm like building and understanding my freedom as a 22-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's like I want to do energy work, and like I'll do it, like I do it on my girlfriend all the time.
Yeah.
Like I do work on her every day, and so I'm just like, we're like hugging, and then I'm just like holding her face, like doing stuff with her like cranial and her mouth, you know, and like her jaw, and it's like that's a part of my life, and so I am practicing, but I'm not using it as a practice to make money. Right. I would like to, and I tried, but it was kind of going against the current to do that, so I'm not doing that.
I think that's just like how that's just part of your medicine. Like focusing on yourself is going to only amplify when you do get to the point of bringing on more clients for energy work. It's just going to make your own work so much more powerful. Yeah. Because I remember with Gary, it stuck with me so much. In the cranial anatomy with him, he was talking about how much his work became so much more powerful when he started journaling more, meditating more, focusing on himself more, because he's able to provide that for his clients more so. So when you like really know who you are and you can detach from other people's energy so that you can read what's theirs and what's yours, that's how you provide such an open space for another client, which I think is also why with my own practice I haven't had much cranial clients, because I know I'm not entirely ready for it. Like I get it in doses because it's what I want and it's what I desire, but my energy's not ready for a full clientele for that. So I think that makes a lot of sense with where you're at for it, and I actually honor that and respect that for you, like finding your way with it and understanding where you're coming from, but still like implementing it in the rest of your life with your girlfriend or even on your own, or like when you connect and when you disconnect, all that kind of stuff is so important. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So what about yoga? What was that? What's part of that?
Well, I was teaching at a couple apartment complexes for a few months.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 5 months?
Yeah.
4 or 5 months.
Okay.
And, you know, it was in a gym setting, but I just would walk into the gym, the apartment complex, and teach the class and head out. And it was very free in the sense that I was like an independent contractor for these apartments and just kind of walk in, teach, and walk out.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, which is really good.
Yeah.
There were no props available, which means teaching was limited in the sense that I couldn't bring people into juicy poses like I like to.
Gotcha.
Right? So there wasn't, you know, blocks under the knees when you're laying down to create a soft release. There was just more like flow and some power yoga.
Gotcha.
And it was in a gym setting, so half the people wanted a workout and half the people wanted a meditative yoga experience. So I had to balance that, and I found my voice in it as well.
Totally.
And I also learned that that's not how I want to teach. Because I couldn't teach how I wanted to because it wasn't my own class. It was catering to the people of the apartment complex, and it wouldn't make sense to make it super weird.
Right.
Yeah. And so basically, you know, weird in the sense of like yoga stuff. It's not weird, it's normal.
No,
and it's like normal about people connect in that way. You own together, you know, you voice together, you practice together, you cry together in the room, like if someone has an emotional release. That's the type of class that I lead. And so I stopped teaching the classes because it was
not really
serving me. It wasn't providing that, It was providing a place for my voice to develop, and it was providing experience. Now I know how to lead. You know, anywhere from one person to like 8 or 20 people. Like I can do it. And that's something that I need. But I'm also learning more about my body and bodies in general and how I want to approach yoga. I find that yoga in the West is actually a fake version of yoga. I don't know what percentage, maybe it's 50%, maybe it's 60%. When you go to a hot yoga class and it's so overwhelming with music and heats and things that you're actually out of your body trying to get through it. It's the opposite of union. Yoga, it means union. And sometimes yoga looks like very slow, intentional, soft, reflective internal movements that aren't provided in the daily classes offered in the United States, at least. I can see that. Where I've been.
100%,
although I still honor those classes because it's taking people from fitness and wellness into spirituality, and there's a place for it. But I didn't want to be someone spending my time doing that. I'd rather be spending my time having conversations like this. And then leading practices also, instead of in a building in a city, I want to lead them outside in nature.
Oh, I love that.
So I decided to be like, okay, I went to school for yoga and for cranial sacral. But I'm not going to actually do them yet because I have some rites of passage to, I need to be initiated in other areas of my life before I can really provide that to people.
Oh, I love that.
Kind of like what you're talking about with the massage, and you don't have the cranial practice because
it's just
you're
not ready.
Yet. And that's how I felt with cranial as well.
Oh,
and
man.
I think that's cool to honor because it's like we're young. And at the same time, our hands are already on some of our life's work. You know, for me, I know that cranial will develop into something more holistic for the whole person and treat the whole person all the way. But that I know that at this age and with this depth, I'm super in tune with it. I'm like,
you just kind of know it, you feel it, but it's like, oh man, that's like super cool. I love that idea with yoga. Like that just like, that really speaks to, I mean, it's great that they have, like you were saying, like the West Side is like, it's kind of like a fake yoga in a sense, but it still brings people like the light and understanding of what it could be if they really were to get involved with it on a spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical level. So I feel like your intentions, I literally see like when you're talking about it and what you feel and what you envision, what you're going through is like so, it's just going to be so expansive for you. Like I can totally see how it's just going to unfold naturally over time. You need to take a deep breath because you're processing that for sure. You're like, I know it's happening. That's so awesome.
It's really nice that we can speak a language where we can talk about things that we didn't know how to talk about before.
Oh God, yeah. I've always like wanted to like see myself as like teaching, but I didn't know what I wanted to teach. And I think it's kind of like that first realm of when you first kind of get into spirituality and understanding what you're doing, the mental, emotional levels of everything that's going on, and help people like be okay with the process and how to be with the process, and like understanding how chakras are so important to what's going on in your body physically and mentally and emotionally. So I think like all these pieces is just like, I think they're so important to not being scared of what's coming up and what you're learning and what you're going through. And I think that was a big missing piece when it came to school. It's like there weren't, like these teachers are great, but they're teaching what you need to be taught, not helping you go through the rest of what comes behind it. So it's like, it's almost like, oh man, it's so difficult. So difficult.
It's like we were learning to be in the seat of the teacher, but we were actually just being taken through an initiation as the student.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, learning how to handle that for someone else.
Yeah.
But without enough attention on ourselves.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it was powerful in its own way, and then now it's like I feel empowered because I'm like, okay, I see it, I'm out of it, and now I'm gonna process my stuff on my own, and that's empowering.
Yeah.
But it was hell in its own way sometimes, because it was just like,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
what?
It's heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah,
super
it's heavy.
I think that's the only word that really describes it, is heavy, because it's just like all I see is like all this shit coming through, and it's just like it just feels so weighed down.
Totally. But it's funny because like now that we're talking about something heavy, I'm like, okay, well, how can we shift the conversation out of heaviness?
Right.
Like that's the first thing that came to mind, and like, I'm comfortable in my body.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like, well, let's ignore that and get into something better. And it's like, oh, like that's almost just as heavy.
Well, yeah.
Like, fuck,
it depends on how you want to see it, though. Like I honor the fuck out of what we went through in school, because I learned so much, but I think it just prolonged my progress of healing, because I didn't understand what was going on and stuff like that. But I honor it because I went through that kind of stuff, and now I'm like, I can go back and I look back and I'm just like, that was immensely hard but healing, like, because now I know how to go about it in my own way without being guided or whatnot. So I don't know, all kind of has its benefit, even though it was kind of shitty at times. So
totally.
Yeah, I saw you process a lot of times.
You did, huh?
A lot. Yeah.
I think
like,
I showed my process very openly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, all right, everyone, whatever. Like,
I was vulnerable, but not very vulnerable. And I think it's just because I was so intrigued on understanding how to hold space for others, which is what they taught us.
Yeah.
So it kind of just made me distance myself from being vulnerable in other situations. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and we got to practice with each other how to hold space for each other's vulnerability, because everyone was vulnerable at the same time, even if they didn't show it or whatever. Yeah. Cool. So I really want to talk to you about working out. Yeah. I've never had a workout routine. Yeah. I've gone to the gym and I've had a membership for a few months, but I never actually used it, right? Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I've only done things like moving my body with my own body weight, and climbing trees and rock climbing and like things like that. Yeah. And I love it. But I see you and I see your physique and I see what it brings you, like the life you have with it, and your lifestyle around it is really empowering, and it's inspiring to me, even though I'm not a gym rat. And I might never be, but I'm still like really intrigued because you hold both. Yeah. Yeah, it seems cool.
It's funny because I'm like super intrigued by how you do things, like truly, seriously. And I think it's just because it's always like grass is greener on the other side. I don't even think of it like that, but it's like you see something else, you're like, you're interested, especially because we both are physical in just our own way. Yeah. But I mean, I've grown up in the gym and weight training and weightlifting like since I was 11 or so. It's just kind of my nature now. It actually helps with the endurance on long days being with as a massage practitioner. So it's like I kind of need it now. But it's also like so grounding, like the foods that I eat and like weight training, like heavy and being with gravity and like going against gravity, it just really brings you down into your physical body. And that's, I think, also what's helped me know within my own body what's emotional, what's physical, what's mental, and when I feel things going on, because then I can also like relate to another client what's going on. I think that's honestly what's helped me when it came to being with clients and figuring out what's emotional, what's mental, and all that shit. So it's just kind of, I don't know, it's funny because I've even seen things in my birth chart or my natal chart that it just like, that's the way that I move through life, is through a healthy lifestyle and for weight training and heavy physical activity. I don't know, it just feels like my nature. But what you do is also your nature, and we also see like the benefit from both. So which is why we're both, I think, interested and intrigued in the way that we both do things, because I think it all has purpose, it all has meaning to how we can live and how we do things. And you're grounded in another way because you do things out in nature and you're with nature and you rock climb and you're doing yoga in the sun. It's just like, but I'm grounded because I'm physically in my body and listening and connecting, and a mind muscle connection and all that stuff. Wow. So it's really kind of like that duality. Totally.
Yeah, it's like you're going inside, I'm going outside in a way.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you're actually going indoors and into your body more with more weight and more like awareness of that. Yeah, and I'm like interested on like, I mean, I'm interested in that type of thing too, but like in connection with nature. Right. Like I like climbing onto rocks or trees. Yeah. And like I don't like feeling how heavy the tree is on me. I like feeling how light I am on the tree.
Yeah. Oh, that's so weird. That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective. That's really, really cool. Damn.
That is cool. You want to walk around a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, cool. We can just keep this rolling. Maybe we can like close it up a little bit.
Okay. Like
show me how. I don't want to mess up your tripod.
No, you're good. Do you want to do the second one too?
Yeah, maybe the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it can go as low as possible and then it can just hold it.
Totally.
Or whoever can hold it.
Yes.
Cool.
So,
Sweet. What's that? This thing.
So this, I put it's like a remote. I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Does it have one?
Yeah, so you can like Bluetooth it to your phone. And as long as the remote's charged. I just kept it in my car because I figured we weren't even going to use it. So.
Need it. Okay, cool. Here, I'll grab it. And then, do the legs go in?
They do. So this thing I noticed, loosen, but be careful because it'll come out.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, cool.
Right? This thing's a really good tripod.
Yeah, it is. How much was it?
$20.
Yeah,
20
that's what I was thinking. Okay, cool, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great.
Well worth it.
Cool, cool, cool. Awesome.
Oh, I just got a lot of shit and no bags. So it's my bags right now. That's how I feel, like I have a lot of shit and nowhere to put it.
Well, it's funny because if you were in a different state and you had all that stuff down there,
yeah,
you wouldn't necessarily be like, ah, that's a lot of stuff if you didn't have a lot of stuff going on. You know?
Oh yeah, this really does represent kind of my mind, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's see.
Oh yeah, do you do life coaching? Did you go to school for life coaching?
I didn't go for life coaching, but like the way that I approach people in a yoga practice is life coaching.
Totally. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and it's not just with yoga, like
on the grass. Yes.
Yeah. Like I've thought about, okay, life coaching school, like do I want that? Do I want to experience that? And I decided that right now I don't, because the way that I've approached myself and been a life coach for myself, I see that it can benefit other people, because when I talk from the space of having learned how I taught myself, then they hear it and they're like, they're interested in some way, and I'm like, okay, so I don't need to go to school to be a life coach. I just need to share what I learned.
Yeah, seriously. Because then you just, I think the biggest thing with, oh, look at the little turtle. Oh my god. I really do think like life coaching is just a like help in shifting perspective. Like you give people a different perspective so that they can go about it in their own way, instead of being like a counselor and giving these like ways of how the cognitive experience works and what you're going through on an emotional level and where it came from, where the trauma originated, and the trigger and patterns, all that shit. But with life coaching, you just like give ideas and give an explanation and give experience, and it helps the person shift their own perspective from another person's experience, which I think is totally Aquarius. Like we just want to teach people in their own way. Like we just want to give you an idea of how to do it, so here's this, now do with what you want with it, type thing.
Totally.
So I think that's how things should be taught, though. You know?
Well, they should.
Yeah, because it empowers a person to think for themselves, which society doesn't want people to do.
No. Yeah. I have a podcast where I talk for about 25 or 30 minutes on public schools and the alternatives. And I like the actual alternatives and also the alternative approaches.
Right.
And what you're saying is like could revolutionize the entire world. Dude, because people are super smart. Our bodies heal ourselves. Right? Our psyches heal ourselves. If we're not cut off from our community and from thinking for ourselves and being like, I don't think that I should hate my parents. Like I'm going to love and appreciate my parents. Forgive whatever had happened. And, move on from it and then just heal from it, because they were doing what they knew was best at that time with what they knew and what they had an awareness of. So it's like, you can't blame anyone for anything when everyone's experiencing what they need to experience for their highest self, highest good, and all that stuff. Like, you can't blame anyone. Like, you can't judge anyone for doing what they're doing, because with what they know, with the knowledge that they know and what they feel. Like, it's just everyone's personal experience is their personal reality. And I saw this thing, do you know Dr. Joe Dispenza? Yeah, I love it. Oh my god, there's this one thing, is like, your personality creates your personal reality. I was like, oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you haven't heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, look him up and listen to any YouTube videos of him.
Yeah.
It'll change your life. It'll change your life.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
I really want to go to one of his like tour
I know, me too.
things.
It's like on my list of things to do like, in the next couple of years. I'm like, definitely gonna make that happen.
Yeah, because you
experience
responded
this
to
stuff.
my my
I was
story.
like, yes.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I got his book, You Are the Placebo.
Oh.
It just came in, it just fell into my lap, and it was perfect because I was like, that title's interesting. And then I looked him up and I was like,
this guy's mind-blowing.
Like,
I think he just like blew up in the past year too.
Well, because it's so powerful and so strong.
That's true.
Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's our true essence of where we derived from as humans, like cavemen, and then where like we didn't have shoes to protect our feet beforehand. Like just get back. It's more like grounding and like connecting with your feet again, instead of like just like protecting them and then not thinking about what they actually do for you. You know, like that's how I feel when I'm doing it. I'm like, oh, I just feel like I'm connected with my body and the earth and the ground. Like it's more of just like just kind of connecting with myself, because I don't forget about those things. Like those are, I wouldn't be walking without those, like literally.
Yeah, we're both barefoot.
So I don't know, that's kind of what I took from it. But it's like, it first really struck me when I saw you the first time after a long time. It was like probably, what was it, like February or something, maybe even January. We met up, we did a cranial session, and then we walked around your neighborhood. And you were barefoot, and I was like the whole time I wanted to take my shoes off, because I was like, I want to do this, and I haven't done it since like when I was really young. So it really kind of spiked me. And then when I watched your video and like what you talked about with it, like more reflexology stuff, like it gets your digestive going, and it like just moves your body in a different way internally. So just kind of really spiked my interest to keep trying it and doing it more. So
cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. If you haven't seen that video, then watch it. There's a little card right here or something.
Right there.
Somewhere over here. Cool. Okay, sweet.
It was good stuff.
Sweet.
Super good stuff.
Love it. Cool, thanks for watching. If you stayed this far, then that's amazing.
You heard a lot of good information. So overall, thank you guys so much for listening to us ramble and just connect again. So super cool to have you guys a part of it.
Totally. Make sure to follow Haylee on Instagram.
Yep, Insoul Therapies.
That's ENSOUL Therapies.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally. And this will also be in podcast form, so check out the Conscious Community Show podcast. Link is in the description. And if you haven't already subscribed to Conscious Community, where we discuss what matters most, tap the bell to stay notified. Like this video if you liked anything about it.
Yes.
And comment below what you got out of it, or something that you want to share as well.
Totally.
Cool.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.